Greetings Internet, DDA here, and welcome to a brand spanking new Decklist video we got for you today. Dr. Wheelo Orange Adaptive Mastery. So this is going to be a typical Dr. Wheelo build where you're going to mill and perform energy attacks to destroy the opponent. The thing that I love the most about this deck is you can never count this deck out. You always have a chance to win in all phases of the game, mainly because of Dr. Wheelo's amazing scaling into the late game. So let's just scan over the list real quick. We got Orange Wheelo Adaptive Mastery. We got the attacks up here. As you can see, we're playing mainly life card beats. Got 3 wall breakers there. Got some blocks, some good blocks, try to mitigate some damage. A few Dragon Balls. Most important drills up here. Lots of drills and lots of milling. Now, this is actually Power Mimic. I know it doesn't look like Power Mimic, but it is. Trust me, guys, it's Power Mimic. So that's the list, so now let's talk about the attacks. So let's go over the attacks real quick. So we got 3 Orange Rages. These are listed in order of importance. Maybe not so much, but a little bit. 3 Orange Rages are extremely important for this deck because what you're gonna do is on level 1 Wheelo, you're gonna combo by gaining 3 anger. And then of course, unless your opponent is playing Blue Protective Mastery, the Orange Rage raises your anger 2. So you're gonna get an instant level by just having a single Orange Rage in your hand. Really good, plus it has Endurance 1, heavy life card damage as well. Orange Launcher is at 3, probably the strongest card in this deck. Not only is it one of those attacks that's going to give you very high control, it's mediocre damage. You're mainly using it for the effects, so it's great on your 3 to activate your 3 ability, as well as it activates your Mastery without question. So this card is going to sit at 3. Definitely don't take any of these out. Plus, it helps you with ball control as well. It's pretty much the only ball control we have. Orange Stare Down is at 3, of course. If you're playing an orange deck, you better have Orange Stare Down at 3. And then 3 Orange Power Points to get those early game drills out, as well as pushing heavy 6 life card damage and having Endurance 3. 3 Wall Breakers. This deck has a lot of problems with anger. So I added in 3 Wall Breakers and it completely solved that problem. Go figure. And 2 Charge Kicks, it kind of goes along with the Orange Rage. It gives you 2 anger. As well as it combos very nicely with your drills, which we're going to go over later. Destroying one of your drills and putting a drill to your hand. And also it helps you, sometimes on level 1 I found I was getting stage locked, you know, being always an A and then having low PUR. This is a non-stage intensive, non-stage costing attack that can get me 2 anger. So that's it for your attacks. Not many attacks. We only have 18 attacks in this deck. So now let's go over your events and your blocks. So these are your events and blocks that you're going to be working with. Actually the same number as the number of attacks that we have. So we got 2 Orange Dodge. I like this at 2. It's a great combo card. Again, similar to the Charge Kick, you know, you're gonna remove one of your drills in play, shuffle it into your life deck in this case, and then actually search out another drill. So you can use this early game to help you get out to early Devouring drills in play. Also late game, it really helps you to be able to shuffle in your Crashing Drill, activate mill effects. I like this at 2 because it is countered by both, you know, Sphere, Domination, it is an event, and then also it's countered by I'll Dig Your Grave and Turles. So I had it at 3 originally, but I dropped it down to 2, and this is where it's going to stay. 3 Orange Destructions, the major mill engine of this deck. We can certainly win without this, so don't worry if they Black Scout Maneuver, Orange Destruction first turn. We have plenty avenues to mill with this deck, as I will be explaining in the strategy section. This is the big major problem I have right now with myself with this deck, and is that I only have 1 Villainous Energy Sphere. And let me tell you how amazing Villainous Energy Sphere is with this deck. It mills a card. So not only are you stopping an event with your Villainous Energy Sphere, but if you're on level 3, you're milling 2 cards. If you're on level 4, your opponent will cry if you sphere one of his events. So in my opinion, if you're gonna bring Wheelo to a major tournament, you have to have 3 of these. If you're gonna bring him to a major tournament. It's too much of a power jump. Like, there are some competitive players out there that would argue that you need spheres in every deck. This is the first time that I'm saying this, guys, that you need spheres for a deck. This is one of them. It's just too big of a power jump. If you love Wheelo, much like any ultra rare, if you love Wheelo, you can get away with, without these, but I would not recommend it. It's just too much. It's too much of a power jump. Of course, we all know that your sphere substitution is stare down. So we have 2 stare downs in here in place of spheres. So normally I would have 3 spheres, but I don't have them, so I'll just go 1 and 2 stare downs. 3 energy absorptions, mainly for the endurance, stages, and anger. So as you can see, all of our blocks here, like our hard blocks, gain anger, which is what we want. We want to push up levels. We have some piecewise anger in here. We have the rages. We have the charge kicks, as well as our level 1 power. So typically we're going to be able to jump up a level a game by anger. Energy catches are in here. I don't remember ever using the all of your attacks deal +2 life, +2 stages of damage effect. I don't ever remember using that. Mainly it's in here, again, for the anger and the endurance 3. And this card's just spectacular. Orange Refocus. It's our only hard physical block we have in the deck. This deck is a little bit weak to physical, but that's why we play ball 6, and we also have leveling. And to be honest with you, we don't really care if we take damage. Seasoned Wheelo players out there will be able to tell you this. Damage is inevitable, and you actually hurt your opponent by taking damage. So we don't need to have this impenetrable wall of defenses. And of course, time is a warrior's tool. So now let's talk about the planning cards. So next up we have the planning cards. And as you can see, we actually run more planning cards than we do of any other type in this deck. So that's kind of typical for orange to do that. We got the most important drills up here. Orange Thumbs Up drill is probably the greatest thing that this deck has gotten in perfection, period. I've won games. The opponent will forget this is on the field. And I've actually won games, Kelly Dennis, when the opponent would forget that this is on the field, enter combat and say blinding energy move when they have a low number of life cards left. They think they seal the game, but then they play down a few Visiting the Past, or they play down a few Dragon Balls, and suddenly you're level 4 and you're like, oh, also you need to mill 6 or you need to mill 9, by the way, bud. Crashing Drill. Very strong engine card for this deck. This card I make enter and exit play several times every game. It is so good. Some versions of this deck have played this at 2 copies because it's so strong in this deck. But space is ridiculously tight in this deck, so I do have it at 1 right now, but I would not knock anyone for playing 2 copies of this. Orange Guardian Drill, amazing card. Also, helps with the Crashing Drill, being able to play drills from your hand or setups. Being that this deck does play a massive number of planning cards, getting out an early game Orange Guardian Drill is going to help you out for the whole game. Orange Torching Drill, the same. These 3 drills combo very nicely with each other. I find myself activating Orange Torching Drill a little bit less than the other drills, but nonetheless, as many separate effects as you can activate while on your level 3 or level 4 is just going to push your damage ceiling through the roof. Of course, the most important drill in your deck is going to be 3 Orange Devouring drills, and that's just to push you up levels as fast as possible. You're going to be gaining 1 level average a game through anger, and that means you'll only need 2 Devouring drills to get you to level 4, and that's what you need. Orange Focusing Drill just to protect your other drills. Needed in a control deck. You're going to be playing the slow game, so you're kind of open to control effects. as well as Empower Drill is going to help you out early game if you get stuck there, giving you 2 PUR instead of 1, which is, you know, it doubles your PUR on level 1. Let me just put it that way. Also, it's the only banishing effect in this deck, and it's the only banishing effect that you need. We got both defensive drills, which are just great. You're going to want to get these out as soon as possible, depending on the deck that you're facing, as well as orange hiding drill, almost solely winning the Krillin matchup or the Cell matchup. We got 2 Dragon Balls in here. We only play 3 hard physical blocks, and our PUR is extremely low in the early game. So we want this Dragon Ball 6, get it out as fast as possible, as well as I told you guys before, I don't play Dragon Ball 7 in every deck. However, there is no deck. There is no deck that uses Dragon Ball 7 better than Orange Wheelo. I'm sorry, guys. There's none. None in the game, okay? There is no deck out there that can do a 10-card swing with Ball 7, okay? 10 cards. You're going to choose 3, put it on top. Mill 5, then Rejuvenate 2. Okay, 10-card swing. It just wins. It just wins games. I've done it several times. It just wins. As well as Villainous Visage. This guy will likewise just win you the game. You know, you take 5 damage, you mill 12, and you rejuvenate 2 of that damage. Dr. Wheelo's Revival, excellent card. This card will make all of your opponents very, very angry at you. Not only does it shut off events, which is great in the control matchup, it also will just damage your opponent by doing nothing. If you can get to your level 4 without triggering a revival or with only triggering 1 revival, chances are you're going to win that game. 2 orange escapes will help you get out of bad combats in the early game, or just to do extra damage to your opponent. You know, enter on your opponent and just end combat. Orange Audience, this deck got 2 cards in the past 2 sets that took it from probably a tier 3 deck to a tier 2 deck easily. And Orange Audience was one of those cards. So what this card is going to do for you, it's so simple. It's so simple. It's just power, return a drill you control to its owner's hand. And at the end of combat, you may place a drill from your hand into play. So let me tell you, I've been in a situation where I've had my opponent enter on me and end combat or something or other. Like they think they got the one up on me, or like say for example they would enter on you and use Sinister Choke, and you have maybe 8 cards in play. You can activate this whenever, as long as it's not in between an effect. So if your opponent plays Sinister Choke before the immediate effect goes off that makes it unstoppable, you can actually activate Orange Audience, use it, send a drill you have into your hand, and make that choke not stoppable, not unstoppable. Also, other things that you can do with Orange Audience is you can just combo with Orange Crashing Drill. So many times, I've used Crashing Drill 6, 7, 8 times in a single game by just comboing with Orange Audience. Excellent card. One of the best cards that this deck has gotten. 2 Visiting the Past, of course, you know, you're going to want to, in a combo deck, you're going to want the Visiting the Past to get back your destructions, or even tutor like an Audience or an Escape to be able to place and play during combat, or tutor a drill if you already have an Escape in play. And like I said before, this is Power Mimic. It doesn't look like Power Mimic, but it is Power Mimic. I actually don't own Power Mimic. But I feel like it's needed in this deck just like Sphere is, which is why I'm going to be proxying it, and I'm going to be buying one soon. I wouldn't play this at 2 copies, though, because Power Mimic in this deck is very combo-oriented. You're going to be leveling fairly quickly, so you want to try to use it with Devouring Drill, if you can. Other than that, though, you can do some pretty nasty things with Power Mimic. You can Power Mimic your Thumbs Up Drill. You can Power Mimic your Torching Drill. You can Power Mimic Guardian Drill to place another drill into play. You can Power Mimic one of the blocking drills to give yourself extra defense, or Hiding Drill. I'm going to keep it at 1 for now because this deck is so tight. I'm thinking about 2, but I'm going to keep it at 1 for now. So now let's talk about the bench cards. Alright, so these are the bench cards that I'm currently considering for this deck. Orange Eruption is an excellent card. Just another 2 anger card as well as anti-anger. It only costs 1 stage, which is great. But I chose Charge Kick over this for the combo potential, but I may want to work in a little bit more anger, and so this is close to an addition for me. Blinding Energy Move is just a card I really want to enter in this deck. I wanted a little bit more combat control with this deck, but I just haven't found the room yet, and I definitely choose Orange Escape over Blinding Energy Move for multiple reasons. I literally just dropped Orange Energy Phasing Drill out of this deck because I dropped a few other energy attacks. If I don't play many attacks, so I found myself never using this card. It's not that it's not good, I really want it in the deck, but I found myself never activating it. So if I added in, say, some Orange Eruptions or Blinding Energy Move, I would add back in the Phasing Drill. Orange Nudge is a great combo card. I would probably play it as a 1, maximum of a 2 of, but I have been considering dropping one of my current energy blocks just to add in 1 copy of this. Orange Inspection, this deck, since I dropped Orange Energy Phasing Drill, this deck doesn't have much board clear. So this is a good alternative board clear card. The drawing card doesn't really help you too much, which is why we're not even considering Orange Possession Drill in this deck. Yes, you'll typically have drills to discard, but you're not going to really be drawing into any cards that you're going to want to use during combat with this deck. You're probably going to be drawing dead if you Orange Possession Drill, and it's not like we're a hero and we have Heroic Assistance to combo with. And Orange Smash is just interesting to me. It has extremely high damage potential. Like if you have Orange Torching Drill in play, you just banish your other 3 drills, and then at the end of combat, you have a potential 12 card mill with this card. So extremely high damage potential, but just one of those like idealistic cards. I'm going to throw it over here on the very end of the bench just because I like the idea, but I don't see it ever entering in this deck. So now let's go over the general strategy and how to play this deck. So you're going to start out level 1 Wheelo, and your early game is not the greatest. It is terrible, actually. So there are certain decks that you're never, ever, ever going to want to enter on, and that would be anything Ruthless, anything or Turles, like anything that's just, or Saiyan, anything that's going to punish you terribly for entering on them in the next turn that they have. But against other decks, because your early game is so terrible, you may want to enter on them. May. And that, the only way you're going to want to enter on someone is if you have at least a block or 2 in your hand. You have an energy block and you have a physical block, or you have blocking drills down already, and you have one of these cards in your hand. Because your early game is so terrible, you want to get to the level 2 as fast as possible. So you want to use your level 1 power, gain the 3 anger, and then use one of these to level up as fast as possible. Now, chances are your opponent is going to be entering combat on you. He knows that Wheelo has a terrible early game, and especially since you're orange, they're going to want to go aggressive on you. So chances are you're going to be able to activate this power, maybe not level, and then you're going to level via Devouring Drill, which is great for you because you'll actually level up to level 2 and or level 3 and actually still have some anger left over from your level 1 power that you can then use to try to jump up to the level 4. If you draw Power Mimic early, sit pretty and wait for that Devouring Drill, because then you can just turbo up to level 4. You can play and win the game on level 2. Whenever you block an attack with like one of your blocking drills or the blocks from your hand, you will be milling a card. So you can offset, you can get some damage through that way, as well as all of your attacks just start hitting really hard. You know, this Orange Rage is going to do 8 life cards. The Charge Kick will actually do some life cards then. And then even like your control attacks, like Orange Launcher, is still going to be hitting for 5 life cards. So you can definitely win the game on level 2 if you have to, and I have. But that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be here. You want to at least be level 3. Once you hit level 3, all of your milling effects are going to be intensified. So your spheres are now milling 2. All of your combo cards are milling at least 2 each. You're gonna start to see the true damage that is Orange Wheelo. You know, suddenly when your opponent plays down ball 7, they only get to keep 1 card because after they play it, they're gonna mill 2. And this power is amazing. You know, you're really only gonna hit 1 attack a combat, so that's all you need to do. And remember, it's actually, you use this power when an attack becomes successful. That is actually before damage is going to go off. So you will mill them 3 because this constant ability is going to affect this own power. You're going to mill them 3 before you do the damage of the attack. This Orange Wheelo deck, there is no deck that has a better late game than Orange Wheelo. And, you know, I know Cell is in the format, so the Cell players may be yelling at me right now. Well, how are you going to stay at level 4 against Cell? Well, I don't have to stay at level 4. I'm fine at either 2 or 3. I don't have to stay 4 against you. However, if I am 4, there is no other deck that has a stronger late game because this power makes you live forever. You have forever. I have already done close to 10 damage to someone in a single phase when they try to end combat on me. I have already had someone enter on me, do an attack, orange dodge my crashing drill for a 3-card mill, search out crashing drill again to put it in my hand, guardian drill, crashing drill in play, guardian drill, crashing drill in play for another 3-card mill, instantly activate Orange Audience to put Crashing Drill back into my hand for another 3-card mill, and then next phase, activate Orange Escape to end combat with Crashing Drill just to add insult to injury. Now granted, this combo, it made me a little sad because I thought originally that you would be able to mill them while ending combat, but because this effect cannot interrupt this effect, combat is already over and the window has already passed for this card to activate. So if you do use Orange Escape to play Orange Crashing Drill, you're not going to be able to get the mill. The combos you can do are endless with this deck. Endless with these cards. With these cards, guys, they're endless. These cards right here. Crashing Drill, Torching Drill, Orange Dodge, you know, Orange Audience, Orange Guardian Drill. You will mill them forever, forever and ever and ever. And just rejuvenate, keep rejuvenating. I have lasted so many combats, so many turns more than my opponent expected just by being on this level. And of course, the bomb card that you're going to throw down late game, the card that you're going to hold in your hand, the card that's going to make you enter combat, you know, actually enter combat when you are level 4 Wheelo, is Orange Destruction. That card's going to do 11 card mill, 10, 13 cards, you know, and mill and rejuvenate you some cards. Excellent, you know, just kill your opponent with this card. So, you know, you're mostly going to play passive. Mostly passive. I've gone aggressive on my 3 and my 4, sometimes my 2, depending on the matchup. Like if I'm playing a strong control deck, like a Krillin, and I have an orange launcher in my hand, and they have ball 7 just sitting out open on the field, and I just want to enter combat, I have some blocks in my hand, or something like that, you know, enter selectively. Don't really enter on the 1 unless you know that you're going to get a level and you're not facing an aggressive deck. But once you're on your 4, you know, if you find that you have a life card advantage over the opponent, don't enter. There's no reason. Because they have to enter on you and you have revival in your deck. If you find that you're at a life card advantage to your opponent and you get to level 4, chances are you've already won the game. So I hope you guys liked my Orange Wheelo deck list. This deck is extremely fun to play, and I hope you guys like it, because there is no better feeling in the world than just sitting back and watching your opponent slowly die. And let me tell you guys, this deck is the deck that wins late game. And part of my problem, I built this deck for my brother originally, and I used to yell at him because he would scoop. Never scoop with this deck. Never. I don't care. I don't care how many life cards you have left. You have 2 life cards. You have 1 life card left. Your opponent opened with Saiyan Domination and you have 2 Orange Destruction in your hand. I don't care what you do with this deck. You never scoop because this deck will win. It will win with 1 card left, and it's just unexpected. It is the deck that pulls out the late game win when no one is looking. So I hope you guys like this deck list. Please rate, comment, and subscribe in the comment section below. Please don't hesitate to hit that like button if you like this video, and as always, turn your dial to Random Number Gaming for weekly updates for the Dragon Ball Z card game.